All right, it is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That was Plush, my girls from Plush, with Isolation, the Alter Bridge cover. And man, oh man, I don't know, Eric, are you hip to those guys or not?
To Plush?
Yeah.
Well, that's your girl.
Yeah.
Sings for Plush, right?
It is.
Of
Yeah,
course
Mariah.
I'm a fan too.
Yeah, dude, I cannot believe the run that they are on. You know, it's just they just got done with the Kiss Cruise, and you know, so they finished the Kiss Cruise, and what happens? They're going right from that. Mariah is going right into TSO, and she's touring with TSO.
Which girl is that? Mariah is?
Yeah, the singer.
Wow,
yeah.
they have her doing the TSO for the Christmas because it's like coming up now. November, December, they do that. Well, she's phenomenal, man. Everybody knows it. Her videos that were going around a few years back where she was crushing like cover songs on there.
Yeah. Dude,
we knew something was going to happen for her. It was just a matter of time.
Her voice is just fucking amazing. And, you know, for me, and this is the weirdest thing is, you know, I got to be friendly with her before any of this happened. So it's like watching your friend elevate into like star status. It's the
Did her grandfather
shit.
Would you know if her grandfather actually invented Formica?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I know what I do know is there's got to be some money somewhere behind them. Yeah, I don't know where, I don't know how, you know, but just dude, I mean, you're a touring musician. The tours,
I am.
Hailstorm, Evanescence, Slash, Seven Dust, Wolfie Van Halen. These are just in the first year they've been a band. Now the Kiss Crew, they just finished the Kiss Cruise.
Those were all bands that they've opened for that you just listed?
That they've toured with, not opened for, toured with. Like no less than they just finished right before the Kiss Cruise. They were on tour with Alice in Chains and Bush.
That's the best practice you can get, you know, just playing that many shows.
Yeah.
You really become a seasoned musician and figure it out pretty quick. You get the opportunity to figure out quick, where a lot of other bands are trying to break out locally are lucky to only play maybe a couple times a month or something. And then you get these opportunities to go out there and hone your skills on stage and get a stage presence that you need to, you know, put on a good rock show. Yeah. So they're kicking serious ass, and God bless them.
The real question I have though, and I mean it's a question that's probably not for now, but is probably for a while from now. How long can the momentum last? Like right now, it's the hip thing, you know, for girls, they're all, I think Mariah just turned 22 yesterday. So, you know, they're all 22 is the oldest one. And then the other ones are all under that. And it's like, how long does that momentum last before being the cool young girls is not a thing anymore?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I guess we'd have to look historically at all female bands.
Well, see, that's not hard to do when you think about it. I mean, how many
we could count them on one hand, right? The Go-Go's.
Yeah, the Go-Go's.
In rock, anyway, if we're sticking to rock, obviously Heart, which they didn't have, but they weren't all girls, mind you.
Yeah.
The Runaways.
Yeah, the Runaways, and they had a shelf life of what, about 30 seconds?
Right. Well, generally, you know, they will look for the talent, you know, the singer typically. They always get the singer away, like who's expendable here that we can just, you know, and it's sad when they do that, really, but they do. I mean, so if we're just going to look at this objectively, you know, it's your girl for, you know, for Micah that's going to go on.
She, you know, it's a weird thing with that band because Mariah is unbelievably talented. I've told her,
Mariah.
I've told her straight up, you know, she's the best voice out there right now. Just pure voice. I've seen it live. I've seen it on record. It's actually stronger live.
And it holds up. This girl can sing every night.
Note perfect every night. She has had some, but she has had some vocal problems on this last run.
Well, what happened? Talk to me.
Just a couple of shows where she didn't have the full voice, so she's literally learning how to pull back a little bit, like pull back. Like there's a lot of parts in some of the songs where there's just a lot of those, the yas in the middle. Yeah, where she's now pulling that back and filling that with like guitar fills and stuff. So she's a smart vocalist.
Well, you got to learn as a lead singer how to make those adjustments to like some alternate ways that you could sing the song when you're having a little bit of a rough night or you guys have been out for a while.
Yeah.
Roth was always like, he was the king of that, or maybe one of the first guys to let you know it's okay to switch how you're singing it as long as you're on the show, or whatever.
Sure.
But they're young, so she's going to have that voice for, God willing, for a long time.
Yeah, you would hope. You would definitely hope that it doesn't, and again, it's a concern because she's a friend, not necessarily a concern because I'm watching her as an artist and saying, oh, she's going down a bad path. But my biggest concern that I have is, they did a year straight with nary a break. I mean, there was literally like a week break between Hailstorm tour and Seven Dust tour, and then maybe another week between that tour and the next tour, and then 2 weeks between that and Alice in Chains, and now the Kiss Cruise came right after the Alice in Chains tour. Now immediately going into 40 dates in 42 days or whatever. I mean, TSO is a grinding schedule. They play every day. But they play, don't they play 2 sets every day?
I haven't had the pleasure of attending this TSO show. Have you?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dude, have you been to it?
I have. I've been a few times.
Is it awesome?
It's fucking. I don't like the music at all. I ain't gonna lie.
Right.
It's just I'm not Christmas music guy at all. But it is. It's the biggest show you'll ever see in your life. It's big on a Rolling Stones, Metallica, U2 level. I mean, it's massive with floating up and down drum risers and smoke machines and the best laser show you'll ever see in your life. And
Mannheim Steamroller. They were
bigger
like
than that, way bigger than that.
They're bigger than that, but those guys were the pioneers. Right?
Oh yeah.
This shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were. But just that grind of that, they play afternoon shows and night shows. I know that with TSO. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, this girl's been playing a year straight, literally one solid year of touring, and now going into 80 shows in 40 days. Now, admittedly, she's not singing the whole show. Admittedly on the TSO tour, there is 55 singers.
They have a lot of singers and guitarists and
so
costumes. But that's good. See, I mean, you get in on a gig like that, it's got to be. Well, no, they tour though. That TSO tours though. She's still back with touring, but she's got the talent to where she'll always have a singing gig, and could be in a Vegas show or something like that, a residency, somewhere. But it's really just getting a hit song, really, to as far as the group plush itself, solidifying the band into some kind of historical significance, you know what I mean? It's just getting, which this was their first record. They still got some time to really connect to something.
And 2 of their songs were, I don't know what this even means anymore to anybody, but they had 2 songs that charted that were like Billboard top. One of them was Billboard top 15. One of them was like number 28 or something. So that's reasonable success, I guess. I mean, I look at Spotify numbers and I see, I look at their numbers and I look at like bands like Lil Azar or The Warning, bands like that are out there right now. And those other bands are doing more numbers. And I'm like, I'm wondering why.
Believe all that stuff though? Like I'm to the point now and that I'm like, I don't believe anything anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if Spotify wants you to be successful, then you have a billion plays, but I mean, a band like that's probably insignificant to Spotify. Why would they fake their numbers?
Well, no, not the, they won't, not them, but the ones I'm referring to
the ones that
some
are
of these crazy
numbers?
numbered bands that have like 80 billion views.
Oh, I know.
I don't even know if I buy it anymore.
Well, dude, that's like I watched I was watching Thursday Night Football on Amazon.
Okay.
And they just and I was actually very happy to see this actually. Amazon, not that I like them as a company, but as a company, they're investing a shit ton of money into music right now.
Okay.
Like not podcasts, but actual music. And they've
subscriptions to music, you mean? Or
well, subscriptions, but they also redid their whole subscription thing so that they have a free platform like Spotify does now with, 100 million songs that you can hear. And it's exactly for free. Yeah, just like Spotify. It's exactly like Spotify. They just launched it like this week. I got the email for it. So they're putting a bunch of money into it. But I was watching, and they launched a live music concert show that airs immediately after the Thursday night football games every week. And I mean, and it's not our kind of music at all.
Oh,
I mean,
that sucks.
it's yet, but I mean, they got to go with what's hot right now. So it's hosted by 2 Chainz, and it's the first act was this guy, Lil Baby, who, like everybody else, I thought was the guy that's always on TMZ that's like getting arrested and shit.
Right.
But that's Da Baby, not Lil Baby. Apparently there's a difference. So I looked up this Lil Baby guy because I really don't, I'm tuned into the music world, even R&B and rap. I like it. I don't mind it.
I love R&B.
And so I tune it. I looked this guy up on Spotify, this Lil Baby. He has a song that I've never heard in my life that has 1 billion with a B plays on it.
Right.
1 billion.
1 billion.
And Metallica has like 1 song with 1 billion, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But Metallica's been around 30 fucking years.
You could almost believe it with Metallica, but you'd have to like do the math on it to like, okay, how many times could this song time-wise even be listened to? And is there a mathematical way we could even see if this is fucking possible? Yeah,
I mean, but this guy's like new. How does this guy have 1 billion plays?
It's to like reinforce the idea that this guy's the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey man, are you gonna tell me 80 million people are wrong?
Yeah.
You need to get Lil Baby.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, man. But I just watched it and I was just like, I was disheartened that it was shitty rap music because it really was shitty. And
it's gotten so much worse than when it started.
Yeah, it was so good, especially in the 90s. It was so good in the mid 90s.
90s was great for, and I agree with you, dude. Go on.
It was so good, that whole era of Tupac and Snoop and, Dog Pound, Biggie, all that stuff was all so good. Lady of Rage, I was all in. I was all Eazy-E, NW. I was all in on all that stuff. I liked it. The more hateful, the better for me. But I loved it. But I watched this show. I literally watched the whole concert, and it was long. I was stunned. It was like an hour, and it was live. And what I again hated the music, but what I was intrigued by was the amount of money that Amazon is putting into this. I mean, it was on a serious $3 to $5 million stage. I mean, monstrous stage as big as U2 would play on. And it had like a big rock thing that he was climbing up, singing the songs on top of this rock thing that was in the middle. And he had 8 or 10 dancers that were dancing with them and smoke.
Did they do any satanic rituals or anything?
No, none of that.
Oh, no, shit.
It was just it was just big though. And I was like, all right, at least a big company is putting some money into music,
right? Which
is the first time in how long that we've seen a big company invest in any kind of new music.
Yes. But was this, now tell me about these performances. These are rap performances. So did they have a full band by chance, or did
they had a full band, but it was off the stage, but they showed them a couple times playing. Like they showed him on the side playing. There was a turntable guy and whatever.
Right.
But I didn't watch this Thursday's, which was Megan Thee Stallion, which which is what, Nicki Minaj's twin sister or something. They look the same.
Oh, but you don't know for sure if they're related. You're just
joking. No, I have no idea. I have no idea, but they look the same and sound the same. So I assume I'm not into it. What I do think, though, is that with the audience that they're playing to, with them investing big money into this shit, and I mean, I know Amazon has more money than God. It's not $5 million. It's like me giving you a 50. Right. It's not like break the bank money. But where are you? I'm here. All right. No, I was like, where are you going? All right.
Getting my pressed coffee, my Stephen Piercy coffee.
There you go. Nice.
Go ahead. Go on, sir.
But what I'm thinking is, with them doing this on the NFL, it's not going to be long before they start pushing rock bands to this. Because NFL fans are generally older, white dudes. For the most part. Mm. So the 45-year-old white guy is not going to be watching Megan Thee Stallion hosted by 2 Chainz.
Probably not.
They're going to be looking for Dirty Honey, or they're going to be looking for Greta Van Fleet, or
that would all be cool. But sadly, I think a lot of people love the country pop too. That could be it. A lot of these country artists are really bringing them in, they're almost putting on these kind of rock like shows. You guys have talked about that, you and Neely, before.
Yeah, I mean, I just am encouraged. My only point to this is that I'm encouraged to see a big company investing in music for the first time since MTV died.
Right.
Since MTV died, has anybody else done anything of value with music?
No, and I think a lot of it, in retrospect, was production cost wise, and they just realized that the reality shows were just so fucking cheap to make, and that videos were expensive, and making good music is expensive. Fleetwood Mac rumors, they probably, who knows how much they spent with all just cocaine alone on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when it comes to rap and a lot of these pop songs, you're talking about maybe I don't know how many people are involved in the writing of one song, but it's done on a computer, so it's not like you got to get these great musicians involved.
Yeah.
There's a studio guy, and damn, I don't know what his name is. There's one guy in Sweden that did like all the pop songs for everybody.
Oh,
There's
sure.
one dude in his computer, and then they just bring in the singers, and then the songwriters, whatever, lyricists. But bottom line, it's just way cheaper to produce this kind of music. So it's just weird to me that it's not weird. It makes sense that they convinced young people that hip hop is cooler than rock, even though it's not new.
Yeah, it's not really new.
There's nothing new about it. It's just as old as your grandpa's rap.
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
Yeah. It's just not as good. I mean, I'm with you. It's not nearly as good.
And it's worse.
Yeah, well, that I can't argue. I mean, dude, I was a huge rap fan. I really was. I in the 90s especially. I mean, I went to those shows. I was that daring guy that went to one of the scariest.
You're big enough to go. That's why you're like, you want to fuck with me, motherfucker?
Well, but even that, dude, I went to a show. It was called the Icebreaker Tour. And it was cool because I also got to interview Tupac like earlier in the day for that thing, which was the coolest thing ever. Yeah, I got to interview Tupac, which was great. So I went to the show that night, and it was Tupac, Dr. Dre, Dog Pound, Lady of Rage, I forget the other guy. There was like a guy that didn't make it on Death Row, but he was on Death Row. He's like a crooner guy.
Okay.
But it was the Death Row tour.
Wow.
And I went to that show, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I did not feel uncomfortable 1 ounce at the show. I was perfectly, because I knew all the songs, and I was right there with everybody else singing the tunes and, just holding the N-bombs,
But when they sing that, you're like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
You guys go ahead.
You dirty. I was doing that type of
weird. I wish they wouldn't do that, man. I
know.
Really wish they wouldn't say that word.
It's so dumb that, well, we can say it and you can't. That's the dumbest shit ever.
Just let it die already. Come on.
But I'll tell you where I felt nervous. going to the parking garage after.
Oh yeah.
Going to the parking garage after.
And everybody's all fucked up too, and all feeling ballsy and pumped up after the show.
Yep. And just listen to a bunch of white hating music for an hour, for 2.5 hours. I was like, let me get to my car quickly.
Oy vey.
Little bit scary, but not too bad. But and I've gone to rap shows. I went a few years ago. I went and saw Ice Cube. It was Ice Cube, Public Enemy, De La Soul, and LL at here in Cleveland. And I had no problem at that show. Dude, the bottom line is people are people. If you act like you belong there, nobody's going to give you any shit. Not really.
Right. No, times have changed. They've really pussed everybody up lately too. These younger generations. I wouldn't worry about going anywhere.
I don't worry about it. What are they going to do? Kill me? I've been dead.
That's right.
Bring it. I don't give a fuck. But
please, do me a favor.
Yeah, exactly. let me not deal with what's coming. Exactly, dude.
I don't think I've ever been to a rap show. We did do a weird like little camping festival thing in Missouri once, and the headliner was that guy. Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. The King of House of Pain guy.
House of Pain, yeah. I forget.
But he had his band that he does the Everclear. Was it not Everclear, but it's something
Everlast.
Like Everlast. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
It was Everlast. It was actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
He did his song. He did that song.
Jump around. Jump around. Jump
up and get down.
That's right.
Like McEnroe, I'm smacking the hoe.
Yeah.
Does he say something like that?
He does. Here, I'll pull it right up. We can play that song. Why not? We have the technology here. House of Pain.
Oh, it's a dead guy. We're watching the video for those of you that don't.
I hope it ain't Neely's brother. Jesus.
That one. Oh, that's what is that a different version?
Let's jump around. Let's get to the fast part.
Throw your hands up if you got the feeling. Jump up touch the ceiling. Monks, let's up on flow. Someone's fucking junk, yo, I'll bust them in the eye. And then I'll take the punks out. Feeling fucking amps in a trunk. And I got more rhymes than this cops at a Dunkin' Donut shop. Sure enough, I got pop from the kids on the hill with my mom and my pops. I came to get down. I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around. Jump around. Jump around.
It sounds like a queef in the background.
Jump around.
It's like, who queefed in the studio for that?
And that's probably what it was too, dude.
Famous. It's the most used queef sample,
right?
Hip hop history.
In hip hop history, it's probably been used in every porn I've ever watched, though. Between that and that slapping noise, it's like, ooh.
I've been hearing a couple stories from Jason that had worked in that industry a little bit.
Jason Green?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know he worked in the porn industry.
There's a lot of mysterious things about the people around me that I come to find out here and there. Like, really? Yeah. And I think it probably changes your outlook on sex in not a great way.
Yeah. You know, everybody says that they'd love to be a porn star, and then when you realize, I've watched quite a few documentaries on porn because, like I said, I am an absolute porn obsessive, right. And man, when you see I forget what I watched this documentary. It was might have been on the Roku channel or something. It was or Pluto or something. One of these channels that's free, and they had like a reality series following around these porn stars that were, and they were going to this guy that had a little bit of money, and they would just do cam shows, and this guy would make all the money and pay him like $300 a week or something, but give him a place to live. And
how come they don't do their own thing? Go ahead.
Well, because they didn't know how.
Right.
It's the dude.
We don't know how, man. We just have this big dick. We don't know what to do, man.
Yeah, or the chicks. The chicks are like, I don't know how to set up my laptop. I think a lot more chicks do set it up now,
Oh yeah, they do it. The OnlyFriends and
yeah,
or what? No, is that what?
OnlyFans? Yeah, OnlyFans. But dude, you don't even have to go to OnlyFans. I mean, you could do that, but you can just launch an account on Pornhub or on X Video. Like my site is X Videos. You know, I know a lot of people like the Pornhub. Yeah, a lot of people like the Pornhub. Pornhub's a little too clean for me. I like it a little bit. My friend told
me that he's into X Hamster.
X Hamster, not bad. That one's not bad. RedTube is okay. Oh, believe me, I know all about the porn. But I'm a big fan of the X Videos, xvideos.com.
Okay.
And they have different platformed things that people can go on and just do anything crazy dirty, you know, on their platform. Dude, this is a funny side story. You're going to laugh at this. For a little while, when the censorships first started going crazy on YouTube, this is like 6 or 7 years ago now, I launched a CMS channel on Pornhub. Oh, nice. Just uploading our videos to Pornhub just because fucking I knew they wouldn't censor the content.
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta go to people.
And it was funny because I would see the comments on it and they were like, where's the pussy at? This just these two fat guys talking.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I had a Pornhub channel for the CMS for about a year. And then they finally said, if you're not showing fucking ass to mouth, then we don't want you here. But they took my channel away.
Did you guys have a meeting about that? You're like, so what do you think, man? I mean, we just have to ass to mouth just for like a minute.
Dude, I actually got the most polite email ever from Pornhub. It was from the director of something at Pornhub, but it was definitely a personal email, not like a form letter. And it was like, we understand what you're doing, but this is a porn site, and we're specializing in adult entertainment, and the entertainment you're doing is not what the entertainment that is in our
nasty
profile.
Enough, baby.
That's about what they were saying. They were saying they were basically saying that, so we got booted off their platform. But for 1 year, 1 year-ish, we were on Pornhub.
Was this what year was this?
14 or 15?
Okay.
It was somewhere in the not that long. I mean, I guess that is becoming that long ago now, but
well, thank God these other platforms are rolling up for everything, you know.
Dude, I'm on so many platforms with this dumb show now. I'm on just to make sure that we don't get shut down. You know, we obviously have our Rumble channel, which most people pay attention to, and we have our Odyssey channel, and we have a BitChute channel, and we have a Utreon channel.
Are you on PoopShoot? Are you on PoopShoot?
PoopShoot? No, I'm not on PoopShoot.
I'm kidding.
I'm not there yet. But I have a Gab channel. I have a Minds channel.
I got one more that you're not on that you should probably think about.
What's that?
Rockfin.
What is Rockfin?
Rockfin, ROKFIN. And it's a monetized platform. And it's where I've gone. There's a couple independent researchers, podcasters that I've been following on there.
Okay.
And I guess the way the channel works, they all the money that comes in gets kind of split in a way, like everybody, it kind of kicks into the pot for it, but then there's opportunities for people to pay you directly there during the streams or whatever too. I would check it out just as an extra thing to put on. Why not? I am up for pretty much anything that's out there that doesn't censor. Right. Just because if and when some of these things get picked off, I want to make sure I have backups of everything. You know, I'm not letting YouTube take me out. You know, I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to. YouTube owned by Google.
Google, yeah. And dude, it is like I'm fascinated how Google says that they're impartial and all that, and it's such fucking bullshit. It's like, forget my dumb show for a minute. You know who Dan Bongino is, obviously, right?
Oh shit!
Do you not know Dan Bongino?
I can't lie to you, man.
You don't know Dan Bongino? He's the guy.
You don't know Dan Bongino?
Well, he took over for Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I wouldn't.
he's a big broadcast guy.
Okay.
And he took himself, he's a stakeholder in like Rumble, and he was a stakeholder in Parler, and like he's big on the free speech thing. Sure. And he took himself off YouTube, but he has his podcast on Rumble, and he has 2.5 million subscribers on his Rumble channel that tune in every day to watch his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But if you Google Dan Bongino, his Rumble channel doesn't come up like at the top. It'll be all like bullshit. It'll
Google's
be like
forcing that down. You don't see it. They're burying it.
They'll put on there that Dan Bongino called out for being blah, 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 for saying hate speech or, whatever media slant the New York Times is doing or whatever.
You should start like a hair band with that name.
Dan Bongino.
The Bongino, right? Or the
Bongino Trio or something. But it's amazing to me that, Google claims that they're not biased or whatever. And then you do something as simple as that. And it's, and it's like, it shows how obvious they are at not promoting anything that's not on their platforms.
Right.
It's just fucking sad, man.
And they want you to pay too. They want their cut.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. And it's like, fuck off. Bongino just said, fuck you. I'm going to go to another platform. And 2 million people followed him, which it's really good on an alternative channel. That's great.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, you have a lot of power when you get to that level.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that,
No, they definitely do not. But all right, man, let's get into some musical type stuff, because I have some music things that I definitely wanted to talk through with you. And most of
I've been known to music.
Yeah, you've been known to music every once in a while. Obviously, for people that don't know, which I don't know that could be anybody at this point, but Erik here is in a little band known as the Rat Bastards with Stephen Piercy of Rat fame. And you guys, well, let's start there, man. What is going on? How did I get so lucky that you weren't on the road tonight?
That's a good question. I don't know what the exact reason that we weren't playing for last month and this month, other than maybe we're possibly asking for too much money.
Nice.
But we are going to be fired back up here soon. There's a couple private gigs we're going to be doing here in about a week or two.
Right.
And then December, of course, the whiskey on December 30th, and there's something else in Illinois we're doing on December 17th as well. But then as soon as January comes, we're back to playing every weekend.
Okay.
So, but this was good, man. This is like the first little break I've had since my medical stuff. So it's been nice just to get my ducks in a row.
Sure. So how has that been since you when you went back? I know we talked to you like right after you got home. So you went back, you went on the road. What kind of weird headspace did you have to fight through
That was a little bit of a weird headspace. I was a little, because first of all, I was kind of shocked that even happened to me.
Sure.
And out at a gig of all things. So I was kind of mentally kind of trying to deal with that. I didn't want people worrying about me. That made me feel bad. So I was like, that's why I wanted to come on the show and just kind of let everybody know that I was okay and that I was going to be back out there playing. The first couple gigs we did, I had a lot of anxiety about it. I was like, shit, because you really don't want to croak on stage.
No, well, I don't know. See, I think that's person to person. I think there's nothing more rock and roll than that.
That's okay. I don't have to. I'll do the not rock and roll. Just let me go to my bed at home in my sleep.
Right.
I don't want to be on immortalized on video.
Yeah, true.
Right. So, anyways, I did have some anxiety and just getting the stents at that time. I think they were just they were a little tight at first or whatever. I didn't know what pain I was feeling or whatnot, and so it was in my thoughts. It might have messed me up here and there a little bit. I think I maybe blew apart here and there because I was thinking about everything that happened or whatever. But soon I realized I was okay and I was going to be okay. it took, fortunately, everything was covered, like insurance wise,
right?
For me, thank God, so that I didn't have to pay out of pocket. 'Cause I never asked anybody for anything. I never did a fundraiser or anything like that. And I'm just glad it was all just taken care of. I didn't take anybody's money needlessly, or
Right.
Recently I just had like 3 tests done, like where they do like an echogram and sonogram, checking my heart, my neck, my legs, looking for any blood clots or artery problems, and everything was fine from what I could tell. They would have called me in. That was like a few weeks ago. They would have called me if there was something emergency going on. And so far, no. I'm going to meet my cardiologist actually for the first time Monday. So I have a cardiologist now, and aside from taking the medications, that's about it. I was told business as usual for you, buddy. You can go and do whatever. There was nothing that the only thing that they told me that I can't do is cocaine.
All right, well,
you can believe that. They're all, don't do cocaine, you'll die. You're on beta blockers and it'll fucking kill you.
And that's why you're quitting the Stephen Piercy band.
So I had to say goodbye to the band now. I was never really a big drug of mine to do. I mean, I occasionally, if it was there and I was bored or something, I never went and sought after it or anything. I've always been a weed guy. And apparently I'm allowed to smoke weed still. Thank God.
Well, there you go.
So I just do that. And I drink, drink a little bit. I don't drink a lot.
Dude, I used to love Coke. I mean, I used to love cocaine. And now I'm just a big pussy. I'm like, man, I am fucking near 400 fucking pounds. The last thing I better be doing is Coke.
You can't, it's funny. Yeah. Cause the fentanyl too is everywhere. Like it's killing so many people. What Aaron Carter, I don't know how I don't know how
he drowned.
He drowned in his bathtub.
He drowned, but dude, he's 30 years old. He drowned in a pool. Come on. He was fucking high more than likely.
Yeah. I hope it. I mean, I don't know, man. God bless him. I'm sorry that happened to him.
Either that or he's swimming at Tommy Lee's. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, when the ambulance came and they took me away, I didn't want to go. I didn't even know what was going on. I don't want to go to the hospital. I didn't want the bill.
Right.
I didn't want the ambulance. I didn't want any of that shit. But they're like, they took some tests really quick while I was in the backstage. Like, oh, you're coming with that. They're all. You come with us, buddy. Done. And I was on my way, and the ambulance, they're all, we're going to give you some painkillers. I wasn't in pain. My own body, kind of hides that. Your own body has ways of but they're like, yeah, we're going to give you some fentanyl. And I'm like, what? Fentanyl? But they did. They're pumping me up with all kinds of shit.
Right.
I was a mess for a few days after that. I just kind of came through some pictures, when you're going through your photos and your photo library, and then all of a sudden I came across ones where I'm like on my hospital bed, looking not good,
right?
And then the groin area where they had to go in, put the stents. It's all gory and shit,
right?
And I was like, shit, I just went through some shit.
Hell yeah! Well, dude, what's funny is there's video of you playing the night that you had the heart attack, and you look rough. I mean, I was watching that video literally yesterday because I was like, let me see if that's out there, and I found
in Ohio at the
Pickapalooza or whatever that thing was called. There's a YouTube video, and you are soaking wet with sweat, and I mean just soaked, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, damn, that motherfucker was sick. And he was still playing. I know now.
Summer though too. That was that happened on July 15th.
Yeah, so it was the middle of the summer. So
near Columbus, Ohio. So Chris just decided he wasn't going to come.
I didn't just decide I wasn't going. No, wait a minute.
You almost never saw me again. I hope you're happy.
Let's tell the whole story. Who volunteered to drive down there to get you wherever you needed to get?
You're a sweetheart. I'm just giving you shit, man.
I was going to say, wait a minute. I didn't come to the show because I had something else going on. But when you said you were sick, I did say, I'll jump in my car right now and get you wherever you need to get to. Did I not?
No, you did, right? No, you're talking about when I was in the hospital. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I gotta figure out how I'm getting home.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'll get you where you gotta go.
You did, man. I was like, what? That's far, dude. No, we'll figure something out. There was a really good dude there. I'm forgetting his name right. I have his number on my phone, but he was our runner for that event, and he totally lived like literally a block from the hospital, and he took my guitars and he had my shit. And he, right when I finally, because I didn't know exactly when I was going to get discharged, I had to get my blood pressure down. I had to get everything, regulated. It took about 2 days. So they discharged me on a Sunday, and he came and got me, took me to the hotel. My girl had, got my flights changed, because you don't realize what a pain in the ass this whole thing is when you thought you were going home and then you're not. I was checked in for my flight to go home that next day, but nope, not for you, buddy.
Yeah, that sucks.
Satan's got to have a little meeting with you real quick.
That's right. But you made it home, and that's good. So,
yep, that's that I did get home, and I just, like, that next day I went in and kind of handled the insurance thing immediately, because I knew that was coming down the pike, and somehow it fucking worked out.
No, that's good.
That could have just totally destroyed me, man. I'm sure that would have been like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could tell you too. I could tell you my COVID thing was like roughly $100,000.
Wow.
For 8 day.
I was worried about you too, man.
I know. Yeah, you were hitting me up. No,
and I wouldn't know. Most of the times I ignore them. Texted. Crying. But I was like, oh, fuck that. No, man, not Chris.
No, I was blown away by how much attention I got, because I was like, who the fuck am I? And then my phone kept dying because it just kept going off. And the worst part was, me being me, I can never shut up. So I was still trying to return phone calls. I couldn't even breathe. So I'm literally calling people back, like not everybody. I was calling like my mom and stuff. My mom would leave a message. Are you okay? You okay? Because they wouldn't let her even come to the hospital. And I'm like, I'm okay, Mom. And she's like, are you sure? You sound terrible. I can't really breathe, but I'm okay. And of course I'm staying on the phone.
Shut up, listen to me.
Exactly. And meanwhile, I called in 2 weeks in a row to the CMS. I was in the hospital 2 Saturdays. I called in both weeks.
Is that not the fucking worst? Just being trapped in the hospital. That's just
hated it.
And in a bed.
I
don't know how you 2 weeks you were in there.
No, 8 days, but just
still. I was in there 2 days.
It was
awful. Brutal.
It was awful, dude. Dude, you want to talk about awful? I was in the fucking hospital for the burns for 81 days. That fucking sucked. That
81 days.
81 days.
81 days.
Yeah, and I did sleep through 21 of them. I was in a coma for three weeks. So I don't remember that real well. I mean, I remember the weird dreams and shit like that from that. But yeah, those last 60 days just was like, just do it. And you just get to where it's like, I mean, I was in dire pain. I mean, I was obviously burned near to death. So I was in just the worst pain known to man anyway. But even with the worst pain known to man, I could tell you 2:30 in the morning or whatever, and I'm watching the fucking TV that's in front of me, and it's fucking Cop Rock or Hill Street Blues or some shit. And I'm like,
elsewhere.
No, just garbage. Just
TV sucked in the 80s, didn't it?
And it was, and they really didn't have good cable. Like at least on this hospital stay, I had pretty good cable. Now I was a mess, but I watched it. You could get it
now and stuff before. You had nothing then. There was no Facebook to fuck around on.
No.
You were just like sitting there, just forced to watch Sally Jesse Raphael or something.
Or infomercials. That was, dude, I was in the hospital in 94. That was when TV channels still shut off at a certain time. Some of the channels did.
Right.
So, I mean, it'd be like 2 a.m. and like half the channels would go dark.
The national anthem or whatever.
National anthem and go quiet at like 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And then what was left was news, which I didn't want to watch, infomercials, or Hill Street Blues reruns. And I was just like, oh my God, just kill me.
The theme from Hill Street Blues is a banger though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like 35 seconds of a fucking of an overnight watching 10 hours of it.
Dang.
Yeah. Actually, I'm bagging on that show just because it's the first one I could remember, but that was like one of the better ones. You know, the one
you
that
had the People's Court.
No, not at that hour.
I didn't have that yet.
No, dude, the one that drove me the most nuts was Cop Rock.
Oh, that was fucking gay.
That was so bad. Cop Rock.
I remember.
I think that
Cop
was
Rock.
on during that when I was in the hospital, and it just garbage.
What year was this, by the way?
94.
Okay, right. So this was because people hated cops, and they're trying to figure out a way to make cops more likable because the Rodney King thing.
Yeah.
So they're like,
so we had Cop Rock.
Cop Rock.
Yeah, we had
What
Cop
could go
Rock.
wrong? What's the worst that could happen?
And the crazy thing, dude, I was, even when I went home, I was still a straight up mess. You know, I went home and then I had to do therapy 6 days a week for like 10 hours a day, like to relearn to use my fingers and my arm and walk and all this other shit. So what did I do? I watched every single minute of the OJ trial.
Oh yeah, me too.
Every minute. And then after it was, dude, used to drive. I don't want to give my ex-wife a lot of credit because there's a lot of things I don't like about my ex-wife, but she's a goddamn saint for putting up with me during that time. Because literally I'd be at the hospital going from, I would shuffle. I could barely walk, but I'd be shuffling from appointment to appointment during commercial breaks in the OJ trial, you know, so I get to the next waiting room that had the trial on. So I could watch it in the waiting room. Then I would get home. I'd watch it all night. Like I was sleeping on my couch because I couldn't get in and out. We had a waterbed at the time, and just I wasn't strong enough to get in and out of the waterbed at the time. So I'm on the couch.
Hard to get out of those when you're not fucked up.
Yeah, no kidding. And when you're really fucked up, just a mess. It was impossible. So I would sleep on the couch. Well, I was that guy. I'm watching the after show, the after trial with Greta Van Susteren and whoever that other guy was, the guy that she had on with her. Then I'm watching Geraldo's recap at 1 o'clock in the morning of the trial. I mean, I wasn't sleeping at all, so I was just watching the OJ trial endlessly. It was nuts, dude. What you want to know? What's even more crazy? I watched the whole goddamn thing again during the pandemic.
Oh, you rewatched the original trial?
The trial. Yeah, I watched it's on YouTube. Every minute of that trial is on YouTube. And I watched every minute of it again during the first year of the pandemic.
Did you watch the People versus OJ movie?
Oh yeah, dude. I am any kind of celebrity justice thing I will watch. I watched you talking about the one with John Travolta?
Maybe
where he was Robert Shapiro.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I watched
that one.
Yeah, I've watched so many documentaries and movies about OJ. There's like some really low budget ones that are out there that are great. Just like, you know, that it's really the drug dealer. It was Faye Resnick's drug dealer that killed Nicole because they thought that it was Faye, or they were sending a message to Faye Resnick that she was next if she didn't pay her.
I read a research paper that was, I think I've tried to turn you on to this guy before. Miles Mathis.
Miles Mathis.
Miles Mathis is a scientist, and you know, a scientist. He is also an artist, a painter, and he does these research papers. He does science papers that are way over my head, but he also has like a conspiracy website too, where he does his papers, his research papers on shit. And he's gone through all kinds of stuff. But one of them happened to be the OJ trial, where he kind of lays out that whole thing was a massive hoax.
The whole trial?
The whole trial.
So where's she?
Well, they're saying that she is the sister, that the sister that showed up, that the
one with the black hair
is actually Nicole.
The one with the black hair?
Yeah, that she just dyed her hair and is going on as the sister.
Well, who did they kill? The sister?
They didn't kill anybody.
So where did all the blood come from?
With the I don't know, it's Hollywood shit. You have to read the research paper. It's been a while since I read.
I need to see this. I definitely need to see this.
That they're all, you know, that they're all actors anyway. you know, and that everybody involved in that trial were just given cush TV jobs after that. Nobody actually kept doing the gig, you know, not kept lawyering or whatever.
Yeah, no, they did. They all wrote books. They all wrote books for millions of dollars and stuff. Yeah.
And I don't think you're even allowed to broadcast trials in real life. Like, I don't even think that's
they do.
Because that would influence the case, wouldn't it? I mean,
well, you have to sequester the jury.
Right.
I mean, they definitely still do, because I watch, dude, I am obsessed with crime. Like, any serial killer documentary, I will watch it. My latest favorite thing that I love to watch is on YouTube. I know it's the evil empire, but I can't fault where they have good content for me.
Right.
They have these full interrogation videos out there. Just the full 12 hours interrogating somebody. Like, they have the whole thing on video. I can't watch enough of it. First thing I can't figure out is, why don't these guys just cry for a lawyer?
Right.
I don't care what I've done or not done. If I get arrested on suspicion of a DWI, I am saying lawyer.
Right.
I'm not talking to them. I'm not taking a breathalyzer. I'm not doing. No.
They think that they're going to talk their way out of it somehow, that they're going to go home, that they're going to answer the questions and get to leave. I've been arrested a few times, but
me too.
I never got convicted. Luckily for me.
I was banned from Kent, Ohio for 2 years. I was not allowed in their city limits.
Oh no.
For this is just a quick story, and I've told on the CMS before, so the fans know, but you may not know this. So I was home on leave from the military in 87, and I went to a place called Doc Ricketts. They had Filthy McNasty's. Filthy McNasty's was the bar. And they had nickel beer night on Christmas Eve. So it was me. No, it was me, my friend Steve, and my friend Dave. We go to the bar. We get just fucking shit-faced. Just shit-faced. And the bar closes at the end of the night. We were parked in the back, and we were hammered. All three of us trashed. My friend Dave was the biggest of us, and he was a big monster. Like, he was a big, scary college football player monster. And we saw a guy with a Santa hat. And I said to my friend Dave, I said, $20 if you go steal that Santa hat from that guy. So he's like, fuck yeah, okay, man, whatever. So he goes running up to the front of the club. Next thing I know, we see my friend Dave hauling ass with the Santa hat in his hand. And he's yelling at us, start the car, start the car, start the car. We're like, what the fuck? He knocked this guy on his ass, punched him right square in the fucking face, and stole the hat.
Dude.
Little did he know, the guy was having his bachelor party.
Oops.
So there was like 20 guys with him. So we're in the parking lot. We all do the back-to-back-to-back thing. Yep. I had a beer bottle. I smashed the beer bottle on the ground. I'm like, come on, let's fucking go. You know, I'm like ready to cut a motherfucker and I'm not going to die.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to die. So I'm like, let's go, motherfucker. You know, I'm like ready to fucking go. We start brawling. Police come. Everybody scatters. We go running. And like behind the bar was like woods and then a neighborhood past the woods. But you had to kind of run through the woods. It's December. So
neighborhood in the woods.
Well, the neighborhood's just past the woods. There's like a spot that probably is now developed into a neighborhood. Yeah. But I'm running
through the woods to get to the neighborhood. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, I'm running through these woods, and out of nowhere, somebody jumps out in front of me, and I just clocked him. Bang.
Uh-oh.
Just fucking hit him.
And this person was
a cop, of course. Oops. So I hit him, and I kept on running. And I get to the neighborhood and I hide in the back of a pickup truck for what I thought was hours, but was probably like 2 minutes because it was fucking freezing outside. You know, I mean, it's the middle of winter. It was December 24th.
I can see your breath coming up from the
probably, but no, I just got out of the truck after what I thought had been an hour because I'm hammered, and I walked out to the street. And as soon as I got out to the street, whoo, you know, a couple of cop cars came right up on me. They threw me, they handcuffed me, they threw me over the fucking front of the car, and they beat the living hell out of me with the nightsticks. I mean, they really beat the hell out of me. They beat me so bad with my arms behind me that I couldn't straighten my arms in court. Like I was in court like this.
What did it feel like when it was happening? Cause like,
I was
drunk. Or did your body like put off any kind of dopamine?
I don't. The only thing that really fucking hurt was the batons to the eyes. That fucking shit hurt. Like the baton to the nose.
It was when they shoved it up my butthole that I really.
Yeah. Well, I liked that part.
That part was actually
that was good
compared to the eye part.
No grease. Oh, it was great. No, but they beat the living hell out of me, and I lucked out in a way because I had, you know, it was that I got arrested that night. They had morning court, December 24th. They had morning court. My mom showed up to take me, you know, to come with me to get me into court. Like she was bailing me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were gonna put me in jail. I mean, it was gonna be a problem. And my mom was like, well, we're gonna press charges for fucking police brutality. Look at him. And I was an absolute, I mean, both eyes were swollen shut, face was all swollen, arms were black and blue and couldn't be straight.
Like Rodney King. Your mom's all, you Rodney King, my boy.
Yeah, pretty much. It was pre-Rodney. I was the original Rodney King.
Right.
But so it ended up, I had actually knocked the front teeth out of the cop when I hit him. So I ended up having to pay $600 in dental work and a fine, and I wasn't allowed in the city of Kent for 2 years.
$600.
Well, that was 1987.
Who was doing his dental work? Steve Martin?
Johnny Chiclet.
Little Shop of Horrors or something?
Dude, that was a long time ago. $600 back then was a lot of money. But
jeez, that wouldn't get you one tooth implant.
No, that wouldn't do anything these days. But back then, that was what the fine was.
Here you go.
Yeah, the fine was $600 plus whatever fees.
So you saying you don't want to travel? It's really you're just not allowed to leave the house.
I'm allowed now.
I mean, bracelet.
No, I don't have an ankle. No, not anymore. Never had an ankle bracelet, but I've definitely been.
So assaulting a police officer is on Mr. Aiken's record somewhere.
Not anymore. It's expunged. As long as I, you know, everything dropped off. As long as I didn't get arrested in Kent in those 2 years, and it was easy not to get arrested in those 2 years because I was out of the country. I was in Korea. So
I was on probation for 5 years myself once. For when I was 18 years old. I right here where I live in Oceanside, California, a police officer had pulled me over and basically he accused me of being on methamphetamines and took me into jail and drug tested me and somehow tainted the test. Somehow they tainted the test and got a positive test, and I was kind of faced with either copping to a plea, you know, or pleading not guilty and potentially going to prison for 3 years or something, which was the mandatory minimum sentence back in 1990.
Right. Oof.
Or when I was scared shitless too, you know.
Yeah, what a choice that is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had a public defender, and I was telling him the story because I'll tell you the story, like, because I'm a weed guy.
Sure.
You know, and I just had I had some weed with me, and we were going to be playing a concert the next day. I had a bass player in the car because I've been playing gigs since I was a teenager.
Right.
And but at the time I was driving what used to be my grandparents' Cadillac. If you ever saw Goodfellas, the blue, powder blue, 1977 Eldorado, they have that.
Right.
I had that car pretty
Okay.
much. But now I'm driving, so I was already sticking out like a sore thumb, and I had long hair back then, and I had zits and whatever. I was still a teenager, you know.
Okay, yeah.
And so, but he had sized me up as like a tweaker. He's like, "Oh, this is a tweaker," because at that time there was a problem with meth and, you know, gangs and whatever.
Right.
But this guy he was like, how much meth did you do tonight? How much? He was just meth. I didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. Like, I was just high as shit. I was just like going to go pass out flyers somewhere with my buddy. And I just kind of was like, yeah, whatever, dude. You're going to test me and see I'm not. And we got back to the police station, and he was going through my stuff, and he finds a bag of weed.
Okay.
And he goes, well, he's like, I'm getting you on the mess. We don't have to tell anybody about this. And he stands up, he like shoves the weed down his pants. And I'm really scared, because I'm like, okay, this guy's a bad fucking cop, you know, but whatever. He's going to feel stupid when the test comes back.
Right.
And I'm vindicated. And like, I even waited like a month before. It was like the day before my court date, and I called in to get my results or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, tested positive for methamphetamines. I'm like, oh, my heart just fucking freaked out. I was like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, okay, public defender, I'll tell him what's going on, and there'll be justice.
Right.
Yeah. And so I tell him the same story I just told you, and he goes, yeah, man. He goes, look, he's all, cops are pigs, man. Just plead guilty. I'll get you the NIDAP program, and you know, that's the best thing, because if you don't, you're gonna lose. His word over yours. You're gonna lose, and you're gonna go to prison.
Wow.
So here I am. I like agree to plead guilty to something I didn't even fucking do.
Right.
Just to get this assurance that I'm not going to go to prison.
Yeah.
For something I didn't do, which is ridiculous. And then they proceeded to give me, I'm 18 years old. They gave me 5 years probation, you know, that's the time where you're probably going to fuck up. Right.
Right.
Be like 18 to 23. And, but somehow I made it through. I wasn't a bad kid.
Right.
You know, I wasn't really doing too bad of shit. Underage partying was my biggest crimes.
Sure.
That I would get in trouble for. But yeah, that one it got sealed.
Okay.
If you will. They sealed that, and it's never been an issue. Like you find out if you got an issue, like when you go to a country like Canada, they'll really take a look at you, and if you got any problems, it's gonna be hard to get in. And no, I've been to Canada plenty of times since then.
Sure.
So it's legit, but you know, and yeah, there's some other little minor things, you know, here and there, but I think I'm good. I think I'm clean.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I'm good because I've been able to buy weapons, and I figured,
that's a good test to know.
You know, that's really the litmus test anymore. Is if you can buy a weapon, it means that whatever you had is either misdemeanor or gone.
Yep.
You know, and really these days it has to be gone, or else you're not getting a weapon. So, you know, I've been able to buy weapons, so I'm good on that. But
you need them there too in Ohio, man.
I'll tell you what, they just made it that you don't need a concealed carry permit. You can just carry now.
Good.
Open carry, man. Is that? I ain't gonna lie. The first time I did it, like I mean, I don't really go anywhere,
right?
But I've started carrying in the car. You know, just to be safe, just to. You know, I don't need somebody yanking me out of my car, you know, and the first time I drove somewhere with my judge with me, I felt a little weird. I was like, you know, it just felt weird because for so long you couldn't do it.
Right.
You know, and I watched so much cops and, you know, live PD and stuff like that I'm like, every time I see one of these fucking assholes arrested, they got a fucking gun in the, you know, in the cup holder, you know, they just look like fucking morons. And I just was like, this feels very weird. And I've told the story on the show before. For the last couple of years, when things got heated, I was rolling with a saw. I kept a little saw in my passenger seat, so that if somebody's
to cut a tree with,
so if somebody ever stuck their arm in my window, I'll cut their fucking arm.
I'll saw your fucking arm off.
I may not saw it off, but if I run it across, if you stick your arm in and grab me by the throat or something, and I grab that thing and run it across your arm, you're going to let go. because I'm gonna take
I agree with you, Chris. I think I would let go.
I'm gonna take a chunk of fucking your arm with me. So I rolled with this saw. Neely makes fun of it all the time.
Chainsaw Charlie over here.
Pretty much. Pretty much, man. But now that I can carry, it's like, okay, this is much better. Because if I ever get
that shit, I've been around, I travel around, and I like all of a sudden be at some gas station, everybody's fucking got guns and shit everywhere.
Yeah.
But hey, man, there ain't gonna be no robberies.
No.
I bet you since they started that shit in Ohio there, the crime's probably dropped.
Probably. They're getting ready. See, they're getting us ready for the crime wave because their gambling goes legal on the 1st of January.
Oh, gambling. This is just for your state, or
yeah, just for Ohio.
Okay.
Gambling. And it's fun. Dude, this is so fun. To me, this is the best fuck you ever. The first legal gambling bet that's going to be made in Ohio, Pete Rose. They hired Pete Rose to do it, who's been suspended from baseball for 40 fucking years for gambling. Yeah. I love that. That
this
is such
a little fuck you. They're like, guessing who's gonna do it? Pete fucking Rose.
Yeah, I'm 80 fucking years old and not in the Hall of Fame, even though I'm the best hitter in the history of the game. Fuck you. I love that shit, man. It's too fucking good. But yeah, it's nice to be able to carry, man. You should be able to carry. People think twice about fucking with you.
Absolutely. I mean, in the States where they're more used to that, I mean, it seems like things are mellower. I don't know if in California people started just doing that. It'd probably be a big shootout.
It would be at first, but it would mellow out because all the assholes would end up killing themselves. And
yeah,
I mean, look, if they legalized it in California, the biggest problem you would have is the fucking illegal guns that would end up in the tent cities for about 6 months. I mean, dude, you go to California now and there's like no laws and crime, is there? Like you can go in and just fucking take shit at the drugstore or whatever.
That's true. Yeah, it's insane. Like it seems like that's happening more in like San Francisco places. I mean, it's really fucked up there. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen people trying that shit here. I mean, and the store will go after you, I'm sure.
Yeah, they can't. Well, it's like, dude, and I know this is fiction, but last night I was watching the current show Law and Order.
Okay.
The regular Law and Order, not the rape one. The regular. Yeah.
Let me hear your
exactly. It's like boom boom. Everybody makes that sound different, but it's but everybody knows what it is. But so I'm watching it, and what they were profiling was that there's already rings of thieves that are organized to rob these stores. And they were profiling that there was this organization, this organized group of people that were stealing shit. And then one guy that opened up a store somewhere else and he was selling all the stolen property.
Oh, God.
And I was just like,
you got to appreciate their entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah. Well, but I'm just watching it. I'm like, they're not just making this up. This is some shit that they're getting from somewhere. This is not total fantasy. It's fantasy based on real.
Well, you were onto something when you're like, basically alluding to the order out of chaos theory, where they do have to let it get so insanely stupid and crazy that you're begging them to come and
help you
up. Yeah. The next thing you know, you're begging for more cops.
Yeah. And you're begging for right? And you're begging for you're giving up freedoms.
Yep. Do anything, please. Just help us when really we didn't need their fucking help. We just need some guns.
Yeah. Just keep me safe. Just keep me safe. Okay, we'll keep you safe. But in order to keep you safe, we have to take all the guns off the road so that nobody has them except us.
And they're letting out some really bad people. I'll tell you that. They're letting some really intentionally letting bad people that shouldn't be let out. Rapists and, child molesters and people. They're really quick to put these freaks,
it's because they need that crime.
Yeah.
They need that level of crime. They need the crime that scares people.
Yeah, they'd be out of a job otherwise. If it's like, say, we got all the criminals, now what?
Well, who's going to be scared? Who's going to be scared in their town if the biggest crime in their town is that somebody's stealing a bag of apples out of fucking Walmart?
Right.
Nobody. But if somebody's, if somebody's fucking ganking houses and, tying people up, tying the wives up with phone cords and raping them in the asshole, now you're talking about a different level of fear.
Yeah. That should be death penalty shit, man. Home invasions.
It is if they come in my house.
Yeah, it is.
The guns are never too far from me.
Hell yeah. Look at that shit.
I've always got one in the room I'm in, just in case. So
yeah, you got one in the shitter next to the toilet.
Oh, I've got the judge, and the judge is portable. It goes where it needs to go.
You got the plunger and then the sawed off.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not Neely level. That motherfucker, he has 11 guns.
Yeah,
11.
That's badass. That Neely guy.
He's got some scary weaponry.
He gave me. I don't know if you could notice.
Yeah, look at that.
Here, let me turn around.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, can the fans see that? I can't see it though.
Yeah, I see it. The gas station tee, or the gas station button-up shirt. Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah. My girlfriend she was all trying to read it before. She says, "What does that say? Hand job? Fuck you, pal."
Yeah, dude. Believe me, people see that shit and they don't know what to make of it. What does that mean?
You like to give hand jobs? What are you?
That's it.
What are you promoting, Eric?
That's what we're promoting. Hand job. Although Neely, he couldn't be happier because Don Dokken wears his all the time on stage, and like every video of Don singing is him in a CMS shirt, and then Steven wore his in the documentary.
Nice.
There's the scene of Steven walking up the steps,
right,
and he's wearing the CMS tee, that shirt, the CMS, that one.
This is a cool shirt. I want to wear this more often.
It's definitely cool. So
I'm glad I found it. I was like, shit, I hope I didn't give this one a Goodwill or some shit.
Nice. Don't tell Neely. Don't tell Neely.
Like, it was like the Law and Order.
If you tell Neely you gave it away, he'll hate you just like he does Eddie Trunk.
Right.
You know that story?
Well, let's tell it again. Just
he gave Eddie Trunk a shirt and walked away, and as soon as he walked away, Eddie threw it in the trash.
They gave me a Class Metal shirt back in like 2002 or 3, and I didn't even really know what the show was, and I wore it. I was like, "Oh, it's a shirt," because you're stinky out on the road. You'll take any shirt.
It looked good. It looks mean.
Yeah, there it was. I was wearing it and didn't make the connection until so many years later.
Right.
And I did see the photos, and I go, "Oh my god, yeah, I remember wearing that." And the logo hasn't changed,
right?
But
yeah, no, it's all good. But all right, dude, why don't we do this? Dude, we are just rolling, man. Another hour and a half in.
All right,
this is easy. Let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll play a couple of songs. We'll play 3-4 songs, and then we will come back, and we are going to talk about a little bit of Judas Priest. And we'll talk about some replacement players and bands. I've got a bunch of questions to ask you as an expert on the road. So we will finally get to some music stuff here in a little bit. So here's what we will do. We are going to play, and I didn't write down the name of the song, so I don't know what it's called, but it's the latest song from the band Jackal. So
speaking of chainsaws.
Yeah, speaking of chainsaws, we'll play some Jackal.
We just played with them. We just played
Did you?
A few different gigs with them. I was just really quick. I know we got to go to break.
Go ahead. We're all good.
But probably the coolest thing about those guys are the amps that they have on stage.
Right.
Are Van Halen's amps.
Oh yeah.
From the what's the album with the paintings of the kid punched in the face and the Fair Warning? Is it
Fair Warning? Yeah.
The Fair Warning tour.
Okay. Wow.
And they're huge looking. They're 70s looking.
Nice
amps. And it's just, whoa, look at that. Anyways.
Dude, we hung out with those guys at a Van Halen show. It was Van Halen, Dokken, Rat with Steven, and and Jackal in 13 at the Rock USA. We hung out.
Right, I remember we canceled a Piercy gig so Steven could go do that.
Dude, it was fun. I ain't gonna lie, it was a lot of fun. Eddie Van Halen walking around. That was like the coolest thing ever.
I'm glad that they did that. At the time, I was fucking pissed off because, of course, I wasn't going to play.
Yeah, because you weren't there.
Paid, right? I'm like, oh, there goes the rent. No, but, they went, and he goes, he knew in his heart. He was like, Pierce is like, I got to do this. I got to open for Van Halen, man. How often do they offer the thing?
Yeah.
And look, it's Eddie's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So and he has that. He has a photo of all them together there, Warren, Eddie, and everything. And you were there too.
Yeah, I was standing 2 feet from where that photo was. It's that the photo was Steven.
Yeah,
Steven, Warren. I think Twinkle Toes was in that one, and Sean McNabb, and Eddie. And Eddie's in the middle of all of them. Like, dude, it was the weirdest thing because I've been around a lot of rock guys. So have you. And you know, nobody's really awestruck by anybody.
Right.
And everybody was awestruck by Eddie. Every single person there was like, you know, Stephen Piercy. Dude, there's Eddie Van Halen. You know, it was like everybody was awestruck by Eddie. And Eddie could not have been nicer. He was just walking around, hey, what's up? How you doing?
That's good because I've heard other shit about it.
Well, on this day anyway, he could not have been nicer. You know, I've heard things too, but I got nothing bad to say. The one time that I saw him face to face, he was very pleasant. He would shake anybody's hand that walked up on him. He was just hanging out. Now, Roth, on the other hand, hid in his own private bus and had his own fenced off porta potty, so nobody could use his porta potty but him.
Well, but I would do that if I could.
Yeah, if you could, but
porta potties are the most disgusting fucking shit capsule there are. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess that is a good point.
Shit, the fair or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the worst.
Nice. All right, let's play some Jackal, and then we will be back. So check it out, everybody. It is Jackal right here
on the Classic Metal Show.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Classic Metal Show. Get all of our episodes uncensored at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. Join us weekly from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. Eastern at www.cmsradio.net. Participate in the live chat room at www.chatandkill.com. Once again, thank you for checking out The Classic Metal Show with Neely and Chris. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, and hand job!
myhappydesires.com. Visit us at myhappydesires.com and add some toys to your toy box. Let your imagination be the guide to your stress relief. myhappydesires.com has everything for the perfect play night. Alone or not, you choose. Fuel your desires without breaking the bank. myhappydesires.com.